One. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and kind of a new setup for both of us here. I have a spinny fan above my head that's going to just probably knock people unconscious just by looking at it. They're going to get all dizzy. And Josh has a new setup, which, if you were a loyal listener and you've been listening over the last few weeks and you saw that, wait, they were in person last week. Ben was in a basket library the week before. What is happening? Okay, I promise you, next week I'll be back to normal. I'm heading back to Hungary, to Europe, so I'll be back to normal. Um, but Josh, tell us what's been happening and why you're in this weird new location with a dresser next to you.
Yeah, so I'm coming to you guys live from the bedroom of my new house that I bought and moved into a couple weeks ago. So the first week that I could have recorded here is when I was in person at Ben's
Oh,
parents' house, and that's when we did in person. So now this week we're still both in Ohio. We're actually both recording in the AM, which doesn't usually happen.
that never
It's
happens.
happening. It's happening because one, Ben's still in Ohio, and two, I'm off of work for 16 days in a row, so I'm just
Yep,
living on day shift because I can.
this is
So
true.
we are on the AM schedule over here. That's why I'm over here now. You guys will be seeing the setup over here. I don't know if I'm going to do too much to it, but
No, I,
not
I,
backlit anymore like in my
no.
parents' basement.
Well, I did tell Josh that it's like I've had to like weirdly adjust things because like in my apartment back in Hungary, it's like I just have my office desk, and then there's whatever happens behind me. I just like whatever, it's just gonna happen. But then there's this weird light that happened back here before we started recording. I didn't like it. Made me look like an angel, and I'm not an angel. But anyways, Josh, it's
Oh,
kind of a
one other thing to note,
yes.
this might be the first time you've ever done a show without a hat on.
Dang it, I don't
Oh,
have
did
any
I
hats
jinx
here.
it? He's looking around for it now.
I hate you now because I didn't realize I didn't grab a hat. So now I'm just gonna be annoyed at my hairline, and because I we got a cut, and it's just I got a tan line now.
This is why
So,
you guys got to tune into the YouTube stream and not
dadgummit.
just listen to the audio.
Listen. So what we're gonna do, because I'm now annoyed, is Josh gonna give you a rundown of what's gonna be happening, what we're gonna talk about today, while I go find a hat somewhere outside. Because I really hate this now. So Josh, give us a rundown. We're gonna talk about the Browns while I go and get my sanity back.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Fair enough, yeah. So as you guys know, we've been going through the college football conferences and NFL division previews, kind of speeding through, just hitting the main points, not really going in depth on every single team, just hitting all the main points. So we finished all the college football Power Four conferences last week in person with the Big Ten and with the AFC North. So we wrapped up the AFC and the NFL as well with that. Today we'll be going over to the NFC divisions, going with first the NFC North. And then we'll go into the NFC South. Since we don't have a college football conference, we'll double up over there. And then we got some things to talk about as far as I guess prep for the Browns preseason. There's another quarterback that's going to be thrown into the room, and we got a starter for first game against the Panthers that we'll talk about. But Ben has a hat now,
Yeah,
so
my
we're
sanity's
gonna
back.
start. We're gonna start out in the NFC North
Yeah.
today. Uh, a division that's been won by the Detroit Lions the last 2 years, a division that was the winningest in the NFL last year. I'm gonna check what that winning percentage was exactly. Um, but really competitive division. Detroit didn't even clinch the division until week 18, and they were a 15-win team. Minnesota finished second right behind them, and the Packers, who were third, won 11 games. So yeah, this was a 662 winning percentage, the winningest division in NFL history, actually, not just in the league last year. So very
Yeah.
competitive. Uh, I do think Detroit comes around and takes this division again
Oh,
this
I
year.
agree. I agree.
It's going to look a lot different though, schematically, because the offensive coordinator Ben Johnson's now the head coach over at the Chicago Bears, and Aaron Glenn, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
defensive
Yeah.
coordinator
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
the Jets head coaching job. Yes. So schematically, they're going to look different, but personnel-wise, it's going to look a lot of the same. You're going to have Goff at quarterback. You're going to have Gibbs and Montgomery at running back. You're going to have Laporta at tight end. You're going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown at receiver. Jamison Williams broke out with his first 1,000-yard season last year. So Detroit offensively is going to look basically the same weapons-wise. We'll see uh, what John Morton decides to do. He's replacing. He only has 1 year of play calling experience, I found out. which was with the Jets in 2017. And they were 24th in points that year and 28th in yards. Granted, it was the Jets. You're not going to be able to do much better than that on a team like that. But nevertheless, a guy that doesn't really have much play calling experience, and when he did, it didn't go that great.
But I think also
And then,
he has better guys around him here than he did with the Jets. So I do think
well,
he
yeah,
gives a
absolutely.
little
That's
work.
why I
Yeah.
caveated it was the Jets, so you can only do so much over there. And defensively, you're going to have Aiden Hutchinson
Yeah.
back.
Huge.
Safety wise, Branch and Joseph might be one of the best duos back there. And they also added DJ Reed to that secondary. It's
Yeah.
going to be nice. And they're hoping that Terry and Arnold, rookie last year, can take a big step forward in year two. So I think there's a lot to like here with the Lions. I would say the one things to watch are the coordinator hires going to hit? And they also got the second hardest schedule this year. They're going to have to face the Chiefs, the Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders, Rams, all on the road. So there's a lot of good quarterback play that they're going to be going toe to toe with, and they're probably all going to be better quarterbacks than Goff in those matchups. So we're going to have to look to Goff to take a couple of those. And they also got Cowboys with Dak and the Bucks with Baker Mayfield coming to Ford Field. So there's going to be a lot of elite quarterbacks coming to play Detroit this year. So those are the things that I think will mean that they won't go 15-2 again this year. But I think when you look at the general landscape of the division, there's just too much talent in the building. So I'd be surprised if they fell out of first.
No, I agree. I think the other thing that stings that you didn't really talk about was seeing Frank Ragnow retire, right? Their center, who
Hmm.
I think losing that because they had a rookie, they drafted that Tate Ratledge,
Tate Ratledge, yep.
which I had pretty high on my board, and it's kind of like they even said, like I was reading this article, I was talking about how, I read it a couple days ago and I brought it up just now, but they talked about how Frank Radnow started, remember, at guard, and then he moved to center like a year after. So he kind of like had time to kind of get used to the NFL and then move over to center and start. Which now it's like, hey Tate, hey bud, you're up, And again, I know that sounds crazy that I'm saying, well, the center makes a difference, but I can tell you, like having a center like that. I mean, yes, you have some older guys you have on your roster that you could play there, but everything starts with the center. Like as a offense coordinator from as myself, like it's based on how does the center snap, how does he lead the blocking, how does he lead the block calls, and all that. So I think if the offense coordinator Morton, if he can get all of that kind of work together, you get it that flowing chemistry. Again, Ben Johnson's just a freak of nature when it came to play calling. He just kind of knew what worked, how to sprinkle in everything. Where I think now what this gives you is okay, can we figure out the offensive line, make sure we stay connected, and then after that, hey, you have Sonic, whatever they call themselves, Sonic and the Hedgehog and Sonic or whatever they're calling themselves in the backfield, right? I think that's what it's called. Let me see. They call themselves
Sonic and Knuckles.
yeah, Sonic and Knuckles. You have Sonic and Knuckles. You have three of the best offensive weapons in all the NFL. You have Jared Goff, who has proven himself over and over again to prove all of us doubters wrong, which was me for many years. You have probably one of the best defensive units in all of NFL. It's all can you use what you had last year? Can you not go into that second, we call it the sophomore year slump. Can we not go into a second year where it's like okay, they kind of lose that momentum and then they kind of fade back. I don't think they will. I think they're going to win 13, 14 games. Again, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to win 15 games. But I do think they're going to be better because I don't trust the Vikings overall as a team. I don't think the Packers are going to be there quite yet. And for sure as heck, I don't see the Bears being anywhere near the Lions level. So that's what I'm going to say about the Lions.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like me, it'd be hard for me to even say 13 just because, like I said, the schedule does shake up to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
But I think 12, 13, I would guess in that range.
And in most division, that wins you the division. I mean, let's be honest.
It should. Most of the time, if you're winning 12 games, you should win the division. Last year was just like we said,
A freak year.
incredibly insane season for everybody going on over there. So with that said, it sounds like you might be leaning towards Green Bay for second.
I am leaning towards Green Bay for second.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think as far as like my predictions this division go, there's not going to be too much bold. It's probably going to be mostly what the casual fans are going to assume, but and we'll get into it. There's a lot changing with the Vikings, with the the Bears still got some things to work on. So I think the Packers are going to be poised this year to
Yeah.
finish second. Some things last year, I guess, to note that were interesting. Jordan Love wasn't fully healthy last year, so it's got a
No.
lot of people doubting whether he's going to be the true successor to Aaron Rodgers. And 5 of their 6 losses last year all came in the division. That just speaks to how tough it was. But maybe Green Bay finishes a little higher if they can just take care of business. But when Detroit, Minnesota, two of the best teams in the league are in your division, you're going to be at an uphill battle in that case. One other thing that was really hard last year, their receivers were fifth in all of the NFL in drop passes. And I know they went and got Matthew Golden in the first round this year. I don't know if that's necessarily a fix that's going to happen overnight, but it is a weapon nevertheless, and a wide receiver that Green Bay did take in the first round, which they never ever do. So maybe it's a
It's
change
a
in direction
sign.
from the
It's a
front
sign.
office. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign that they're actually going to care who their quarterback's going to be throwing to now, actually. But those are just a couple things last year, and I guess things that will be different this year. You're going to have a more healthy Jordan Love. You're going to have I would guess, a little less competitive of a division. And you do have another weapon in Golden, who I really do like over there. Uh, Anything on the Green Bay offense to note or
Uh,
that you find interesting?
well, I think just Jordan Love, like, can you keep him healthy? I mean, like, I think Green Bay's hard because not many players are willing to sign to go play in Green Bay in the months of November and December, let's be honest. So the fact that you drafted a receiver means I think, again, this is just my take, is that you're saying Jordan Love's our guy. And no matter what, he's our guy. Like, if you're going to go out and draft a receiver, which you haven't done like ever, like that shows me you believe in Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love has a lot of great traits, and I really like the guy, but I still think sometimes I I just the injury worries does give me a little cause of concern because I'm going, I don't know if this offense can run with a backup quarterback for, let's say, three-fourths of the year. I just don't think they can. So for me, it's like you got to keep Jordan Love healthy, figure out what that is, because I think when if he doesn't have drop passes and if he actually stays healthy, I think this team is a very good team. It's just, can the offense kind of figure out their identity early in the season and be able to do that throughout the whole season is the question.
Yeah, under Matt LaFleur, been a very historically good regular season team. The playoffs hasn't necessarily come around yet. And then to your Jordan Love point, I mean, just a couple years ago, he was what, like second in the league in yards or
Yeah.
like top 10 in touchdowns or something like that. Like he has shown that he can play, that he's got it. Um, it's just again very early on in his career. And to your point about can they go a full year with him playing like maybe half or 3 quarters of games, the other quarterbacks on the depth chart right now are Malik Willis and Sean Clifford.
Yeah,
So
not giving you much just hope
it's a
there
pretty
per se.
steep decline.
Yeah.
Defensively, Jeff Hafley, former head coach here at Boston College, former DC at Ohio State, took over last year and did very well.
Yes, very well.
Green Bay finished fifth in yards allowed, sixth in points allowed, and that was the first time since 2010 that Green Bay finished in the top 10 in both those categories. The one thing to note this year, I guess the big loss is no Jair Alexander in the secondary anymore. He went and joined Baltimore's secondary,
Yeah.
which
It's
they're going to be
ridiculous.
freaking
Just
loaded, as we've talked
ridiculous.
about. Yeah.
Just
So
ridiculous.
yeah, figure that the defense will be good enough to keep them competitive in most games. It's just I think a matter of what's the offense, the pass game specifically going to look like this year in Green Bay. But
It's sad when you got the guy that replacing him I've never heard of. So, Kason Nixon I've never heard of, or if I have, it's been very rare. So that always worries me when I look at a team and I go, your best player, I mean, really your probably your best defensive player is gone, and you replace him with a guy I don't really heard of. So I think for me, dude, my only worry about defense is though, can this team just win like three or four games in their division? Like, because if they can do another year where this is like, then you're gonna have the questions about the head coach. You're gonna have questions about manager. Like, what are we doing wrong? It's like, no, you just got to win the games you have to win, right? Like, you should beat the Bears both times. Like, you should beat the Bears both times.
absolutely,
So you should beat the Bears both times. Try to steal one against Minnesota. If you lose to the Lions twice, I get it, but you should steal one against Minnesota. You should win against the Bears twice. That's 3 wins right there. Take those wins. You cannot go 1-5 or whatever you were last year.
yeah, I think if you go 1-5 in the division again, you're not going to be finishing second.
No.
Reading through the schedule here for Green Bay, I guess some of the more high profile games. They'll have Washington at home this year. That's coming in week 2. They'll be at Dallas week 4. They got to play the Bengals week 5. They will be going to Pittsburgh in October. They get to host Philly later on in November. Uh, and then they got, of course, all their division games. They go to Denver. over in December too. They got to host Baltimore, so it's a lot of the same hard quarterback competitions that Detroit has that they're going to have to deal with. But defensively, looking pretty good, we said. And then if we can get like a really good Jordan Love out here, and I think it's year three now that he's starting, I think Green Bay is going to be all right.
No, again, I
This
think.
could be,
Well, I
oh,
think also the other thing with Green Bay, I just thought about this too. This is my question for you. What happens if, they drafted Golden, if he struggles? Like, I don't think they have the weapons, you know what I mean, to be like a threat all the time. Does that make sense? So like I feel like you lose
yeah,
Golden,
because
like
looking
don't
around
really have
right
much.
now, preseason depth chart, you're looking at, of course, Christian Watson. That's a guy that they didn't take in the first round a few years ago, but probably is looked at as their number one right now. And last year, struggled a little bit. Wasn't even necessarily health concerns. He played 15 games, but he only had 29 catches and two touchdowns.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
uh, don't like to see that. Uh, and then I guess you got McCole Hardman over here, who's a speedster from Kansas City, mostly. But again, knowing that you're really going to be relying on a guy that just played 12 games last year too, he's always had up and down health concerns. And then outside of that, I mean, you got Musgrave at tight end. Like you got Josh Jacobs in the backfield, but he's not really used in the pass game as much as like Aaron Jones used to be either.
Yeah, that's what
A
I'm
guy
worried
you can
about, I
count on to
guess.
get some really good rush yards for you. But yeah, to the point, 342 yards receiving and a touchdown last year for Jacobs, so not someone you're counting on to be a weapon. So yeah, I guess there's a lot riding on Matthew Golden. You
Yeah.
hope that Watson can stay healthy and not end up being a dud. You hope that Hardman can be a speedster for you. Maybe some of these other rookies like Isaiah Nair. Uh, you never know with those, but yeah, it's going to be a yeah. I think I can say that the worst wide receiver room in this division.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about some of those other wide receiver rooms on some of these on these last two teams right here, but I think this will be where we potentially disagree. Will the Bears or the Vikings be third place?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and maybe we agree on this. I'll be honest. I see the Vikings finishing last. I see the Bears finishing third. And I
Okay.
and I know that sounds crazy to me, to even to my brain, but I look at it and who do I trust more? JJ McCarthy, who has not played a single down, or Caleb Williams, who's shown like after that, after his rookie season, like after seeing like he struggled, like after seeing he's been struggling, to see what they've loaded up with DJ Moore, Roma Duze, Luther Burden, Zacchaeus, Loveland, Komet. You also brought in Joe Thuney, Dahlman, Jonah Jackson. You brought in so much on the offensive side. I think it's like you're looking at two of the similar teams with two good offenses, and I don't know about the defense. Like I feel like that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the Vikings and when I'm looking at the Bears. Does that make sense? But at the end of the day, it's
Hmm.
like who do you go in there and trust when it's like at least Caleb Williams has shown me something, right? Like I know what I'm getting with Caleb Williams. It might not always be great. It might not even be that amazing, but at least I know what I'm getting. Plus, he has some of the best threats I think in this division outside of, let's say, the Vikings and the Lions. But Luther Burden and Roma Duze and DJ Moore, plus Cole Kmet, plus Colson Loveland. I think if I look at the two offenses, I really just think that I trust what at least Caleb Williams has shown. And I think that the Bears defensively, they've made some improvements. They haven't made like an amazing improvement, but I think there is a chance that you'll see the Bears finishing third, maybe like at a 9-8 or an 8-9 record. And I think you'll see the Vikings right slightly behind them. But again, I could flip-flop this. I just don't think I trust JJ McCarthy yet to really give them the headspace there.
Yeah, I think I'm actually with you on Chicago, although I'll give the counter argument to maybe why not Chicago. So everything you mentioned about all the weapons, most of those guys were there last year too. Like
Yeah,
Keenan Allen came in. He's since signed with the Chargers, so he's out. But brought in Keenan Allen last year. You had DJ Moore there. You went out and drafted Rome Odunze. You went out and got DeAndre Swift to be your running back. You had Cole Kmet in the building at tight end. You went out and got, I think, is it Darnell Wright, tackle from Tennessee
yeah,
in the draft. And you're like, okay, Chicago's probably one of the better situations for rookie quarterback to go to. And then they ended up not doing so hot, last in this division. And you could put some of that blame maybe on Matt Eberflus, who's since been fired, and now Ben Johnson, of course, is taking over. So
which is the
you
other perk.
that's the other perk is like, okay, they do have changing, I guess, the top right there with Johnson taking over. And then they do add Burden and Colston Loveland, like you said there. So it's just kind of like, okay, if it's not this year, I'm really starting to have doubts about what Caleb Williams can do in this league because they are really going out and doing everything they can. And like you said, the offensive line got a lot of additions too, including Jonah Jackson. Uh, just as far as the defense goes, Montez Sweat and Jalen Johnson, there'll be some solid pieces back there. But the unit overall lacks depth, I think. And if there are any injuries over there, we don't know really what Chicago defense could look like. But as far as setting Caleb Williams up for success, I mean, you can't say that Chicago's not doing that. It didn't really go well last year, and there were some people blaming the supporting cast being bad. It's like you all were saying preseason that this was so good that it
Yeah,
had the potential that if Caleb Williams did pan out already year one, that they could be competing for a playoff
yeah,
spot.
yeah.
And then at the end of the year, just like, oh, this cast is
No,
trash. And it's like, okay, whatever, dude. Yeah. Maybe Caleb Williams was the one that was trash, but yeah. Segueing into Minnesota, I guess. They're doing a lot to help McCarthy over there too. I mean, you already got Justin Jefferson over there, Hodson, Aaron Jones is over there. You're going to lose Jordan Addison now those first three games because of a substance abuse violation. I believe it was what it was. But they went out and boosted their offensive line. They've got Donovan Jackson in the draft, of course. They went out and signed Ryan Kelly. And then, yeah, we're going to have JJ McCarthy, Ben. First time getting starts this year after tearing his ACL last year. Of course, all the questions at Michigan were, is he not throwing the football that much because they're geared to run the football? They're built for that, and so they lean into their strengths. Or is he not throwing the football because they're trying to hide maybe some deficiencies in his game? And we're going to find out for sure this year. And you're not going to be able to say or use that argument that he doesn't have the cast around him. Like you're going to have to miss me with that because if he's not succeeding in Minnesota, of course you can always give him, I guess the I guess passes. While he's not a rookie, he is going to be a first year starter this year. I'll give him some passes now and then, but if this ends up being a failed experiment in the 3 or 4 years that he's got left on his contract, it's going to be on him ultimately. Can't blame uh, the front office for doing what they can for this offense. A couple things on to note on the defense too. They look pretty good under Brian Flores calling
yeah,
plays. The one thing I guess to watch is Dallas Turner going to break out in year two? That was another first round pick they had last year that didn't really do a whole lot, but obviously was a beast at Alabama. We'll see if he makes any steps forward, leaps this year.
yeah.
Um,
I
but Vikings and the Bears honestly could be a coin flip to me. I think
no, I
it'll
know, I agree.
ultimately
I mean, that's
depend
why
on the quarterback play.
well, that's what I
It'll
said.
ultimately depend on quarterback play,
Yeah,
I think.
like what I said. I mean, like it's literally like looking at the same team, just one shaded in blue and orange, and one shaded in purple and yellow. Like
Yeah.
that's what basically what I see. So either way, I'm not like I wouldn't hold my ground on either one. Let's just say that I think the Lions and the Packers are just a step ahead of both these teams for sure.
hmm Yeah, the other two, I think they're if they're building towards anything, they're another year or two out from
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Uh, let's jump over to the NFC South now because unlike the North, this division had one team that won 10 games. Three of them finished with losing records, and it was the only division in football that had no team uh, average or be finish above average in points allowed. Like the Bucks finished 16th in points allowed, and that was the best. And everyone else was pretty bad. We'll get into one of the more historically bad defenses from the last couple of decades when we get into one of these teams. But any initial thoughts, I guess, on the NFC South? They always seem like that division that's
Just
kind of
annoying
like
to
the
watch.
annoying to watch. Yeah, like there might be one team here that finishes with 9 or 10 wins that ends up winning a division. Everybody else is bad. It's just, yeah, it's one of those annoying divisions. We've seen teams win this division with 7 wins before in the past, Ben. I think Carolina went 7-8 in one year and they won it. Even Atlanta last year, they finished 8-9. They were right in the wild card race all the way, I think, till the very last week, which is insane.
Yeah,
Or not the wild card, that would have been for the division, but playoff spot on the line
I
nevertheless for
just
them.
like, dude, for me, I look at this and I just go, if you look at like this NFC South, Panthers are the Panthers. Panthers will always be the Panthers. We don't know what we get half the time. We say, well, they brought back, Dabo Sweeney helped them get Renfro back. I'm like, well, do I want a guy that was retired because he was kind of done with football and was driving and was like working at like this company? Like, I don't know. Is that what we really should get hyped about? Then you look at the Falcons. I feel like they never either know what they're going to do or they just kind of they flunk at a lot of things at times. Then you got the Saints who, let's just be honest, the Saints could be outside the Browns like the worst team in the NFL. Like they might be up there as like the worst team in the NFL. They really don't have a quarterback situation. They have no idea what they're going to do with the quarterback. I think there's a lot of guys that they're trying to figure out what to do with. The Buccaneers, I would not be surprised if the Buccaneers go like, let's say 12-5, 11-6, maybe like 11-6, and you'd see the next best team in that division go like 7-10, or even worse, like 6-11. Like I think that's the gap. You have the Buccaneers who are doing things right. They've got everything they're kind of figuring out. And then after that, you're going, what do we have? Maybe the Falcons, maybe the Panthers make a step up. I don't know, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Yeah. I think it's a division that is going to be a two-horse race, kind of like the NFC North is. It's going to be between, I think, the Bucks and the Falcons. And I'll lean the Bucks and get into a little bit of that right now. So like we said, the defense wasn't the greatest, but was better than all the others by far. But worth noting that the 16th in points allowed finished, with 18th in yards finished, was the lowest the defense has finished in both categories since 2019. What's going to change this year? They went out and got Hassan Reddick, who's still not 30 years old yet, to boost the defensive line. They're going to have Antoine Winfield Jr. really healthy again, back in the secondary. And as far as the offense goes, you're going to have Baker Mayfield again, who I believe leads the NFL in touchdown passes since the start of 2023. One milestone to watch is Mike Evans could pass Jerry Rice for 12 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. It would be the most in NFL history
And
in a
I think he'll
row,
do it.
stringing along.
I think the
I
only
would
way,
guess.
well, the only way he wouldn't do it is if Emeka Buka has a big year and he has, let's say, close to 1,000 yards. I mean, I think it's going to happen because I think they still love Mike Evans too much to not give him the ball.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The one thing that might change is there is a pretty good amount of receiver depth here. Chris Godwin, before he went down, was pretty high up in the NFL as far as yards after the catch and touchdowns and stuff like that. You're going to have Jalen McMillan entering year two. He was, I think, their third round pick at receiver last year. And then
Sterling
you got
Shepard,
Emeka, who Baker Mayfield said some good stuff about.
yeah,
So
Sterling
there
Shepard
are,
still, goodness.
yeah, there are a lot of good guys here for Baker to throw to. Liam Cohen, no, the offensive coordinator. So Baker Mayfield is going to be having his eighth offensive coordinator in 8 years
That's wild.
coming in. They decided to promote Josh. Yeah, they decided to promote Josh Grizzard, who was the pass game coordinator last year. And as far as what I'm reading, he's expected to maintain the same scheme that Cohen was running last year. So maybe it won't be too much to learn. The ways that the Bucks can, I guess, take a step forward this year. Six of their eight losses last year came by one score, so maybe the defense can just make one extra stop this year. That helps. They also got one of the top 10 easiest schedules this year, so I think that those couple things ultimately push them over the edge for me as far as winning the division over the Falcons. But yeah, should be an exciting team to watch, I think.
Yeah. Look, I'm excited to watch this team. Again, I like kind of like Baker Mayfield's doing. I think you brought in Teddy Bridgewater. I think that gives you a solid backup because no offense, Josh, but Kyle Trask is not I guess what I would really go to. Michael Pratt again, not a guy that I'm like really sold on, but I think with Teddy Bridgewater, if Case Baker gets hurt, you have a guy that can kind of carry through, I think, which I think is huge. I think when you look at that, plus I think you have an offensive line that is one of the better in the NFL. And I think they're going to be set, which is wild to think that Tristan Wirfs is in his seventh year, which is just wild to me. But again, they're a solid team. They should run through this division. I don't think they're going to have a problem.
Yeah. So let's go to the Falcons and I guess discuss that. So defensively, the Falcons were 31st in sacks last year. Their unit got 31st in the league in sacks, and that actually was an improvement from the year before, Ben, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
And if you look over the last decade, they are dead last too. So it's been like a reoccurring problem, like 10 years of numbers and just never making it like a priority or nobody ever panning out. So what do? This year they used two first round picks to go get Jalen Walker from Georgia, James Pierce from Tennessee, and signed Leonard Floyd. You'd think, okay, if they can just finish even 20th in sacks, I mean, we'll take that if we're an Atlanta Falcons fan, I guess. Jeff Ulbrich will be taking over also and tasked with fixing that unit up,
Yeah.
defensive coordinator. The offense has never really been the issue over here. They got playmakers over there. Michael Penix looked pretty good last year in the three starts he had. Uh, Looked pretty good. He had a top 10 offensive line in those games. He had Bijan Robinson at running back, some solid receivers, headlined by Drake London over there. And I guess we'll find out if Kyle Pitts will finally break out this year or not. But even with before Penix took over, when Kirk Cousins had started off, they were 6-3. They had a good thing going, and then Kirk just fell off for some reason. But also, what plays nicely to Atlanta, similarly to Tampa Bay, they got a one of the easier schedules. They got the fourth easiest schedule this year. So if that defensive unit can just like take their steps forward and Penix can take his next step forward at quarterback, I guess that'd be the case for why Atlanta can win the division. I guess I've seen Tampa Bay do it a few times now. I like Baker at quarterback and I'll lean with them, but the Falcons absolutely could do it.
No, I agree. I think it's interesting too with the Falcons though, is I just noticed that one of their tight ends is a former quarterback in college, Felipe Franks. So fun fact with that one. But look,
Felipe Franks is playing tight end.
yeah, Felipe Franks. He played at Arkansas. I think he graduated from Arkansas. He started at Florida, I think, and then
Yeah,
went to
yeah, Star
Arkansas.
Florida. I
Yeah.
remember him. Yep.
He's going to be their tight end. They list him at about 6'6", like I guess it's like
Yeah,
240.
big dude.
Yeah.
Big
So
dude for sure.
he's going to be their number two right now, tight end. So
Hmm.
who would have
Wild,
thought?
dude.
It's funny
Didn't
how
know
it's
that.
funny how Florida can't produce quarterbacks. They just produce guys that turn into tight ends. Seems like that's what happens with the quarterbacks there. Maybe that's what's going to happen to your man Richardson. Maybe they're going to just turn him into a receiver. You never know. No, I look at this team. No, I'm running through it right now. Like I still think it's wild that they got Kirk Cousins still on the roster and they're paying him like 20 million. I just think it's
Wow,
just
that's some
wild
money,
to me.
dude.
And like, look, Emory Jones, another former Florida guy on that team, as a quarterback. You have Michael Penix. You have, I mean, you look at the offensive line. I'm not like excited about the offensive line, but it's there. Um, and again, their defense, like you said, like if you're going to spend all those picks on defense, your defense better be really good, or else your fans are going to be up your rear end saying, "Why didn't we get someone else?" So, and I'm not sold on Kyle Pitts yet. Still, I want to be sold on him so bad, and I just feel like I don't even think at this point it's the offense. I think he's just
I
I
think
don't
it's
I
just
don't know if
him,
he's figured
honestly,
it
man.
out. I don't think he's figured it out. I don't think he like if you're like, oh well, he's a hybrid. I'm like, well then why can't he catch it when he's outside and then why can't he do anything when he's inside? So he's got to figure himself out. And I
Yeah.
think that's a him problem.
602 yards and four touchdowns last year is a decent season for a tight end, but of course, being a former fourth overall pick and all the expectations on him, you'd like to see better. And it's a slight regression from when he had 667 yards a year ago. And then, of course, he had the 1,000 his rookie season, but just one touchdown then. So, yeah, he's been a decent tight end in the NFL, like
Not
middle of
a
the
not a
pack.
four, not a fourth round pick worthy though.
Not fourth overall pick, yeah, for sure. So that leaves us
The
with
two
the
crap
Saints,
teams.
with the Panthers. I would lean the Panthers
I agree.
third,
I agree.
and we just talked about Atlanta's defense. Panthers allowed 31.4 points per game last year, Ben. That is the third most in the last 20 years in a single season. So we'll just start
Oh,
there.
oh, jeez.
You want to
This
talk
is
about
this is
like,
so painful to talk about these two teams. It's just like there's nothing good. Like I can't look at this team and go, there's something good. I guess the only thing that's good is that they drafted a 6'6" wide receiver. It's the only thing that's like positive about this team right now, to be honest with you. And I
Yeah,
look at their defense, and their defense just it hurts when you look at them. Because I think their offense actually has like good talent dudes. I mean, they still have Adam Thielen, who's somehow still productive 13 years in. And you got Hunter Renfrow who's coming back from retirement. Like they're gonna be good defensively. I mean offensively. Defensively, I'm just going, huh. Like I don't really get where they're going with a lot of this. Like
yeah,
I don't get it. Their quarterback situation, I think this might be Bryce's Young's like I don't know. Like could this be the year where it's like could this be the year where it's like kind of like this is the final straw? You know what I mean? Like is this the year that you go we make that final decision? This is the fourth year. It's gonna be his fourth year in the pros. So that's the question.
yeah. I thought that drafting Ted McMillan in the first round this year was a commitment to giving Bryce Young the best situation possible. This actually will be year three for
Sorry,
him.
three. Sorry, yeah.
Uh, yeah, in 14 games last year, 2,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 picks. Not the greatest, but did finish the year pretty hot. Uh, I think in that, yeah, it was the last 3 games against the Cardinals, against the Bucks, against the Falcons, two playoff teams in there. Ended up with 7 touchdowns, no picks. Uh, Maybe some momentum to build on. And then you go out and get McMillan. You took Xavier Leggett the year before. You still got Thielen there. So I think there's a overall commitment to trying to make Bryce Young's life easier. And then one other name to watch for, I'd say, is Jatavion Sanders, tight end
Yeah.
that they took. Injury riddled first year, but still was able to pull off 33 catches, so maybe another weapon there. Uh, Offensive line should be better than what he had his rookie year. We know before then that he was just getting hammered all the time and had to actually like take some time off because of that.
Yeah.
It's just the defense I is the big question. And I guess Derek Brown's going to be healthy. I think he only played a couple games last year, defensive tackle. They go out and get Tershawn Wharton and sign some guys on the edge. So Carolina is just I don't know like what their rebuild's looking like. I know a few drafts ago they took Brown and like all defensive guys to try to address the issues on defense, and then they are now trying to I guess make an environment that Bryce Young can succeed in. But it just seems like there's still a lot of work to do here in Carolina.
Yeah. No, it's crazy that we're saying there's a lot to work to do, and then Carolina, they're going to finish third, and I think both of us agree pretty easily finishing third. So, I mean, I think that just shows you how bad the Saints are going to be. I think that we at least think they're going to be. Um, but yeah, I mean, look, the Panthers are making progress, but it's like, how much more do you have to keep making progress until you kind of have to go do either reset or do we just go all in and spend more money and spend more draft capital? That's the question I think that you got to answer. And I think that's going to be the interesting thing over this next year to see what they actually end up doing long term.
hmm So that does leave us to the Saints,
Oh
who
gosh.
will be getting a new head coach this year. Another really good offensive mind, Kellen Moore, will be taking over. Uh, it's just who's going to be his quarterback, Ben. I think this is one of the few quarterback
Taysom Hill.
competitions.
Taysom Hill. That's what I'm going to go with.
You're going with Taysom Hill.
I'm
Okay.
kidding. I'm
Well,
kidding. I'm not. I just saying that because I'm just annoyed about it.
Taysom probably will get some snaps at quarterback, but I think the competition is a two-horse race between Spencer Rattler, who's gotten 6 starts in his NFL career and no wins yet, and then Tyler Shuck, a 26-year-old injury-prone second-round pick that they got this year.
Who says, and I quote, I've been in college long enough, so I'm ready. I'm more ready as a professional. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, you played 7 years and you've gotten not much to show from it. So yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
We'll go with that.
yeah, like 3 or 4 different stops in
Yeah,
college,
okay.
just
Yeah, sure.
injuries. Some of those were medical red shirts, not just like COVID stuff, but yeah, not a whole lot to like there either. And I guess uh, if you're looking for any kind of silver lining with Rattler's lack of success, 5 of those 6 losses that he had, they were against playoff teams, and mostly had to do it without Chris Olave too. That's another it's like their big weapon right there. You'd like to see him not get all these concussions.
And
Hopefully,
I've noticed they
stay
have
healthy
so many
there.
they have so many receivers that are like former like decent guys in the NFL that have all ended up on this team. You have Brandon Cooks, you have you have Donovan Peoples-Jones,
Yeah.
you have Dante Pettis, you have um, Mason Tipton, you have Cedric Wilson Jr. Like you have a whole bunch of dudes that are just like they were decent quality dudes for other teams, but now they've all ended up on the Saints. It's just like this combined craziness when it comes to this team.
It's a squad of, oh, I remember that, guys.
Yeah, I remember that guy from way back when.
Yeah.
Wild.
Still got Alvin Kamara at running back. You're gonna have Kendra Miller, who I think they took last year,
Yeah.
backing him up. Cam Akers is also here, and Clyde
And
Edwards-Helaire.
they
So that's
got Devin
another
Neal too.
few,
They got Devin Neal as well from
yeah, another
Kansas.
another handful of, oh, I remember that, guys, as running back depth too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saints, it's going to be a little while here too. Even looking at defense, like no more Marshawn Lattimore over here either.
Yep.
Kool-Aid McKinstry is about the only fascinating guy in the secondary. One other cool thing, I guess, moving forward now, they can move Talise Fuaga over at right tackle where his natural position's at because they went out and took Kelvin Banks to be the left tackle.
They have
But
Chase Young. Still have Chase Young. I forgot about that. They have Chase Young. So that's an interesting one. Chase Young, you have that's about it that
and
I know on the defense. That's what's
yeah,
so sad.
yeah. It wasn't too long ago, Ben, that excuse me, choking on my pop. The Saints were one of those teams where it's like it seemed that we had talked about it. Are they going to finally move on from Drew Brees because they were trying to replace him with all these like mid-level quarterbacks, like guys on their way out, and then Derek Carr was like the last of those, and now he's gone finally. But yeah, the Sean Payton post Sean Payton regime has been rough for this franchise.
Very rough.
So,
Very rough.
yeah, and they're finally moving on. We'll see if they do end up being one of those bad teams that ends up being able to go at the top of the draft and get their franchise piece at
I will
quarterback.
say though, they have a white corner. I'm just saying. I'm just saying they have a white cornerback. You never know what's going to happen. Could be the new I mean, he is wearing number 38, so that means he's probably not going to
Oh,
play
that's
that
a
much.
white guy number for sure.
Yeah, he's 5'11", 185, and he has played 0 games in the NFL, but he's like in his third year. Great.
Hmm.
Never mind. Take that back. Anyways, I think that's good with the NFL's NFC South, but I do think there's some news before we finish up the show that you wanted to talk about that I think we both think is just very fascinating when it comes to our Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Uh, we do have another quarterback in the room. We added Tyler Huntley, who's been in the building
Ridiculous.
before in Cleveland, but
So
with
weird.
hamstring injuries, I think it was to Pickett and Gabriel, they decided that we needed another depth piece. So all that to say, uh, Shador Sanders also is going to start our first preseason game against the Carolina Panthers, and I've read that they're mostly going to be playing all their starters on defense. So this is, I guess, a good opportunity to see what you got in Shador. What can this guy actually do in this league? He hasn't really gotten much first team reps in practice. That's been a topic of discussion too, like just how the reps have been spread out. But I'm okay with this, at least to start. I think we know what we got with Flacco. We don't need him
Yeah.
to go out and play
Get hurt.
preseason games and get hurt, yeah, and then us go and sign a seventh quarterback or whatever. Let's just see what we got with Shadur. So I'm cool with this, and the fact that Carolina is also going to be playing most of their number one guys, I think, is also uh, helpful in this case to, I guess, see what you got outside of just practice reps.
No, I agree. I think it is wild to look at their roster and see they have 6 quarterbacks on the roster. But no, Joe Flacco, we don't need to worry about him. Like, I want to see Dylan Gabriel play because I have heard mixed reports. Some people say he looks terrible. Some people say he looks
Yeah,
good.
they'll post like the camp stats, and
Yeah.
his completion percentage just looks awful,
But
dude.
also, I think like you also have to realize too, I think he's getting more reps against starters, whereas Shadur's literally getting reps in practice against like the third string and the second string. Like he's not getting as many reps against the top guys. And I think, look, I want to see what Shadur because either I want people to get the answer correct when they see that Shadur sucks or he's not very good against top tier opponents, or I want them to see like, oh, this guy can hang, and hey, let's have the Browns give him a better look, and we really have a true competition. look, we both agree at one point that we think that Dylan or Shador will start this year at one point. At one point, I think we're going to see them. The question is, do they keep all four guys? Because I think Tyler Huntley will get cut by the end of the preseason. I think obviously Deshaun will go on the reserved inactive thing. I do believe Kenny Pickett will get traded by the end of the preseason. I think that's the one guy that you can go, let's just trade him. Let's get what we can get for him and keep the two rookies and just pray to the Lord Almighty that Joe Flacco doesn't get hurt and you have to shove in a rookie. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, all good points to note right there. Yeah, the thing about camp stats, like you don't know, or those without context, you don't know which unit they're going against, and you don't really know like what the play call was. Like they might be trying to run one specific play or one specific scheme and just hammer it down until they finally get it. I don't know. But yeah, excited to see what we got with Sanders, their quarterback. Excited to see what we got with Dylan Sampson at running back. Uh, excited to see maybe what the future could look like in Cleveland over there. Uh, yeah, we got some rookies that'll be fun to watch. Harold Fannin, tight end, another one.
We got Tua from the the what are the UFL? They signed him after they couldn't get the Judkins signing done yet. They're waiting on that. They signed Tua. So maybe this guy, he's about 5'11", about 220 pounds. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Maybe
Carson
something.
Schwarzenegger has put out some nice
Oh, I know.
plays too from camp
I've
at
heard.
linebacker. Yeah,
We still have
so
the GOAT, Corey Bojorquez. So we do have a punter. So that's all we do know.
no question about who's going to be
And
punting the
let's see what
football.
DeJuan Jones gives us this year because right now they list him at 375, and if he's at 375, that worries me. Because yeah, that just seems very heavy for a left tackle or a right tackle, either way. So I'm interested to see with that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But look, overall, I think we both can agree that the Browns are going to have a rough season, and we'll just go from there, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is all. I mean, we're very used to this rhetoric in Cleveland,
We
all
are.
about what it'll look like in the future.
The future is where it is, as they would say.
Yeah,
But no, I think, anyways, it's a great little NFL preview. I will say for all of you that are watching and listening, next week I'll be back in Hungary, so we'll have more of a lovely, for me, late night episode. But we will be back recording kind of our normal backgrounds and stuff. So if you're watching it and so on. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for these last few weeks. I know it's been a little crazy and the schedules have been a little different, but thank you guys for watching. It's always an awesome way to connect. And also, if you love watching this on YouTube, click that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And if you love listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give us a listen. Let us know what you think down below in the comments. I want you to let us know, will the Lions repeat as division champions, and will the Saints be worse than the Browns? Give us your opinion on those two. I'll be interested to hear. I'm sure my dad will love to tell us what he thinks. And anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day and weekend. Until next time, we'll see ya.